Good morning, everyone. If you could hear me, if you could unmute your microphones.
All right, thank you.
All right. My name is Melissa Woodard. I'm an assistant clerk magistrate with the Worcester District Court. Good morning, everyone. If we could just, since there are a lot of people on, if we could go around and just introduce ourselves. So we'll start with Officer Dowd.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Officer Dowd, representing the Worcester Police Department.
Okay. And then Mr. Webb, if you want to introduce yourself.
It's like straight muted.
Yes, hello. I'm David Webb, representing myself.
Thank you, Mr. Webb. And I believe we have Mr. Charest here.
Sorry about that. I heard him, but I can't hear anybody. Yeah, I hit the thing up there, and this is all the way up.
We can hear you, sir.
Okay, yeah.
All right, here we go. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right, sir, could you just introduce yourself, please? Mr. Charest, could you just introduce yourself for the record? Mr. Charest, can you hear me? Okay. Let me see if I can get someone in that breakout room to assist him.
I'm good. Thank you.
Sir, can you hear me? All right.
Can anybody else hear?
Hello.
Buddy. Excuse me.
All right, thank you for everybody's patience. We're sending somebody into the Zoom room where Mr. Charest is to see if they can help him with his audio. If everybody could just be patient. And the individual logged on.
I'm good. It's just the code on the back of your speaker. Okay.
Could you hear me? Can you hear me now, sir?
Yes, I can. Yeah.
Okay. Could you introduce yourself, please?
Mr. Charest.
Okay. And the individual logged on as Dimitri, could you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, my name is Dimitri Dursharm. I'm a witness for Jared Charest.
Okay. And is anybody else expecting anyone else to be present? Okay. Sir, you want to introduce yourself? I can't hear you.
Luca Webb.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Webb. Is there anybody else who would be logging on separately?
They're at a doctor's appointment, but I am expecting a witness of Dana Lennon.
Okay, I will let them in. I believe they're in the waiting room.
Yeah, it's right here.
All right. The individual who is logged on as Dana.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Can you hear me? All right. The individual logged on as Dana's A05. Can you hear me? All right. If they're at a doctor's appointment, they may have it muted for that reason.
I can hear you. I'm sorry.
Okay. That's all right. Are you able to turn your video on?
I don't know if it's very useful.
And could you introduce yourself for the record, please?
My name is Dana Linan. We have to go back, Christine. Why? Because now I have to talk to this person on my phone.
All right. And you're here on behalf of whom?
I was a witness.
Okay.
Of the incident.
Okay. And you're here on behalf of which party?
On behalf of David Webb.
Okay.
David Webb.
Right. Okay, great. Thank you very much. So I'll introduce myself again. My name is Melissa Woodard. I'm an assistant clerk magistrate with the Worcester District Court. We are here on 2 applications for complaint. The first is docket 2562AC 2363. Worcester police are seeking charges against Jared Charest for assault and battery on David Webb, alleged to have occurred on April 15th, 2025 in the city of Worcester. The second application is docket 2562AC 2364. Worcester police are seeking charges against David Webb for assault and battery by means of a dangerous weapon, both on Jared Charest, alleged to have occurred on that same date, April 15th, 2025 in the city of Worcester. So I just want to explain what this hearing is and how it will be conducted. So this is a show cause hearing or a probable cause hearing. My role at this hearing is to listen to the evidence from the police as well as both individuals, Mr. Charest and Mr. Webb, if they choose to do so, and determine whether there is probable cause for these charges to issue. Probable cause is not what you typically hear in criminal cases in terms of beyond a reasonable doubt. That is once charges are issued and you go to trial, then the standard is beyond a reasonable doubt. For purposes of this hearing and whether criminal charges should issue, the standard is there probable cause that a crime was committed? So the way I do that is I listen first to Officer Dowd, who will relay to me the information he has from the investigating officer. Then I will hear from both Jared Charest and David Webb if you choose to present any evidence. The burden today is completely on the Worcester Police. You have no burden whatsoever. So you are not required to say anything to me or to present any evidence to me. However, if you would like to, I'm more than happy to hear it. I do want to let you know that this hearing is recorded. So if criminal charges were to issue and you were to testify at a later criminal hearing differently than how you do today, there's always the possibility that this recording could be used against you. So I'm going to start with swearing everybody in. So if everyone who intends on testifying could raise their right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear and affirm that the testimony you're about to give today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right.
I swear.
Thank you. And Officer Dowd, does anybody have any questions, first of all, about how this hearing will take place?
No, ma'am.
All right, great. I'll hear from you first, Officer Dowd.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Madam Clerk, if it's all right, what I'll do is I'll read in the statement of facts, which are pretty brief for each docket, and then I'll proceed and read in the police report, which is a little more detailed about what went on, if that's all right.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
All right. In docket ending 2363, Worcester Police versus Jared Charest. This incident took place on April 15th of this year. Worcester Police were dispatched to a location in the city of Worcester for the report of an assault. The Officer Simone, was responding and named an identified victim known to the Commonwealth, stated to police that Jared Charest just physically assaulted him by punching him during a physical altercation that took place inside of his vehicle. Based on those statements and the facts, the officer requested a hearing for the charge of assault and battery. That's the statement of facts for 2363. In the matter of 2364, Worcester Police versus David Webb. Also from April 15th of this year, Worcester police were dispatched to a known address in the city of Worcester for the report of a fight. A name that identified victim known to the Commonwealth stated to police that David Webb just physically assaulted him by punching and kicking him as he attempted to prevent Webb from placing his vehicle into park while they were both inside of the vehicle. Based on the above facts, in statements made to police, a hearing was requested for the charge of assault and battery. That's what I have for the statement of facts on 2364. Just to clarify and kind of go over everything a little in more detail, I'll read from the police report. Upon arrival, the officer spoke to Jared Charest, who stated he was physically assaulted. The officer immediately observed Charest to be bleeding from his top and bottom lip. He stated that a male, later identified as David Webb, just physically assaulted him, and he was attempting to repossess a vehicle. Charest stated that he began hooking the vehicle up to his tow truck when Webb made his way outside. Charest stated that he advised Webb that he was there to repossess the vehicle. Dimitri Duchamp and Louis Castro, who were assisting Charest with the repossession, also stated that Charest informed Webb of who he was and why he was there. Charest stated that at this point, Webb got in the vehicle and attempted to put the car into gear. Charest stated that he got into the vehicle to prevent Webb from placing the vehicle into gear. Charest stated that a physical struggle ensued and Webb struck him multiple times in the face, as well as kicking him multiple times as the two were fighting inside of the vehicle. Charest denied needing any medical attention at the time. The officer then spoke to Webb, who was sitting in the front passenger seat of the vehicle. Webb appeared to be visibly shaken, and the officer observed blood on his right leg, just above his knee, as well as on his right hand. Webb stated that he came outside and observed three men around his vehicle and was unsure of what they were doing. Webb stated that the men never identified themselves or stated their purpose for being on the property. Webb stated that he believed the men were trying to take his vehicle and he entered it to prevent them from doing so. Webb stated that the three men then began to physically assault him. Webb stated that the males then continued to threaten him and other parties on scene prior to police arriving on scene. He stated that he was struck multiple times all over his body while inside the vehicle. The officer also observed damage to the vehicle's rearview mirror as it was completely ripped off the windshield. The windshield was also damaged in the area where the rearview mirror was attached. Webb also stated that the entire incident was recorded by the exterior cameras that were affixed to the residence. The officer asked Webb multiple times if he would be able to provide the footage. Webb stated that it would take a while to upload. Webb stated that he would provide footage when it was available. Due to the above listed facts, Worcester Police requested a hearing for both David Webb and Jared Charest on the charges of assault and battery. That's what I have, Madam Clerk.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Mr. Charest, I'll hear from you if there's anything that you would like to add.
Well, I would like to correct the PD's statement. The car was already in park. It wasn't taken out of gear. Mr. Webb did come out entering the passenger side. While doing so, I was backing up with the flatbed to the car. My co-workers were already outside on the driver's side of the car. Another individual came out. I do not recall their name, heading towards the driver's side of the vehicle. Started having an altercation with Louis. I don't know his full name. He was a new guy. But so I went around to the driver's side to de-escalate the situation. I know Mr. Webb said nobody identified themselves and he didn't know why we were there. But it's kind of obvious why we're there. You know, there's a flatbed backing up to the car, and you jump in the car. So obviously, right there, you already know why we're there. There's no doubt about that. I got in between Lewis and the other individual, advised Lewis to back up because stuff was getting heated. The other individual referred to themselves as male, female, doesn't matter to me. Oh, don't touch me. I put my hands up. My hands can be clearly over on the driver's side. And when I sat down in the driver's seat, I made sure the shifter was not being taken out of park, because my other coworker, Dimitri Ducharme, was right in the back side of the driver's side. And I've seen way too many cases where people take stuff out of park and people end up getting hurt. So I was just trying to prevent another bad situation from occurring from my experiences repossession. Going forward, I didn't tell them who I was and why I was there, and that's my whole job. Every single time I go to repossess a vehicle, I tell them exactly why I'm there and who I am, what order the order is out given. I ask for a license or an ID to verify it's them, so I can give them the paperwork, because I'm not by law be able to hand someone else's information over to someone else. Or even if it is them, if I don't have proof that it is them, I can't give that information. They would have to go down to the PD, to records, and find that information out. Just because it's part of the HIPAA law, and I can't give out people's personal information without knowing it's them. Further on, sitting in the driver's seat that I was, Mr. Webb was still in the passenger seat. While I was still trying to talk to the individual that was on the driver's side, outside the driver's side door, I was trying to explain on how everything occurs and what you can do and who you need to call. And Mr. Webb decided to start pushing me with his feet. And I asked him, I'm like, sir, you don't want to do that. You know, I haven't touched you. Please don't touch me. And then while I was continue on talking, and then I ended up getting a hit. I'm pretty sure it was from a fist, but I wasn't looking at him. I was looking at the other individual. It felt like a sucker punch. And then I turned around and I got kicked out of the car. Then proceeded to see him go and reach for the shifter. I went around to the passenger side. I went and grabbed the backpack that he was grabbing stuff out of. I threw it in the back of the seat, and then I locked the steering column just so the car couldn't go out anywhere. I don't know if I succeeded in doing so. I had Mr. Lewis behind me trying to hit Mr. Webb, which we don't do. We can't assault anybody. We can restrain and protect ourselves, but that's as far as it goes, and we can't be an aggressor. He was new, and me and Mr. Dimitri was training him on that. So as that was going, I attempted to lock the steering column. I told Lewis to back up because Lewis was up against me, behind me. And then once I thought the shifter was locked, I got out of the passenger seat. Mr. Lewis slammed the door, and I already felt throbbing in my head, and blood was coming out of my face. So I just told them to call the cops, and very shortly after, Worcester PD arrived.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Charest. Are there any witnesses that you wanted to present? Are there any witnesses?
When I was Mr. Ducharme, which is Dimitri Ducharme, he was there when the individual that was on the driver's side was punching me in the back of the head when I was in the vehicle over on top trying to reach for the shifter, which Mr. Webb was underneath me while I was moving his fists away. He ended up getting in between the individuals, so I wasn't getting struck anymore.
Okay, but that wasn't Mr. Webb hitting you at that point.
No, because I was on top. I was on top of him. He ended up assaulting me before that occurrence.
Okay, all right. And the bleeding from your face, was that from when Mr. Webb struck you, or was that from when the other individual was striking you, or do you know?
It could have been whenever.
Okay.
It could have been when the other one was punching me in the back of the head. So I assumed it was from Mr. Webb.
Okay.
His partner claims that it was from them.
Okay.
So that's also on record.
The individual, Dimitri Duchamp, is there anything that you wanted to add?
Yes. So when I got up from underneath the driver's side of the vehicle and I had realized that Jared was being attacked from Mr. Webb's partner, his partner was striking Jared in the head, on the top of the head, not in the facial area. And that's when I had grabbed his partner and had pulled his partner away from Mr. from Mr. Shrest.
Okay. Thank you.
And again, you know, when we pulled up, I was the manager for that company. When we pulled up, I had already made it known, listen, this is who we are. We're here to repossess the vehicle. They already knew exactly who we were, what we were doing before Mr. Shrest could even get out of the flatbed, because I had pulled up in a self-loader. Mr. Shrest had pulled up in a flatbed. I had gotten out with Lewis. I don't know his last name, but I did make it very clear we're here to repossess this vehicle.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
All right. Mr. Webb, is there anything that you would like to add?
Yeah. Let me take a breather and process everything we've just been told. I need to start by saying I didn't even have the key on me, and I did not attempt to put it in gear at any point in time. I'm experienced in nonviolent de-escalation. I engage with the Worcester Police Department and other security on a semi-regular basis, usually holding a GoPro myself. The backpack I brought out into the car was placed into the center of the console. And I frankly, that is a distancing tactic. It is a nonviolent, like make sure there's something between me and the aggressor. And I was trying to get my camera out of it at a few different points. But I at no point tried to put it into shift. This whole thing is documented through security footage that I did provide to the Worcester Police Department the following morning. I'm sorry. So I wanted to start by saying the moment that they absolutely did not at any single point in time identify themselves. When we saw them walking onto our property, my partner yelled out of our window that this is private property, and they yelled back, "Fuck you, no it isn't." When I walked out, there were two people standing on the driver's side of my door, and I immediately, one of them said, the smaller one, not either of the people on this call, so I presume Lewis, said, "Don't fucking touch me." And I immediately entered on the passenger side and put my backpack in the center console and started trying to get my cameras out so I could document the situation. Jared threatened me immediately. He was screaming. He said he would shoot me. It was either 3 ways from Sunday or 6 ways from Wednesday, but it was he said he would shoot me. He said, the smaller one, I think, Lewis, I guess, was yelling that they are not the ones to fuck with and that he will fuck us up. And I was terrified, probably the right word. My heart was racing. I was, I did write something for this before they said all of that. The person I've asked for the body worn. Oh, I want at the very least for my assault to be deferred because I've been asking for the body worn camera footage. I originally filed a request on the 18th of April, 2 days after this, for the officer driving vehicle 77 between 9:58 and 10:20, and for the body-worn camera footage of Officer Simone for the entire incident, including his phone call at the corner of Almont and Hamilton, and for conversations with the tow truck drivers and his conversation about whether or not the vehicle would be towed that night prior to calling for an ambulance for the assault victim, as well as approximately 5 to 10 minutes of body-worn camera footage from a third officer who was present for the questions and answers with the 3 tow truck drivers. There was a state determination by the Public Records Division of the Office of the Secretary of the Commonwealth on May 8th, 2025, instructing the city to comply with the public records law. So I was expecting them by end of day, Friday, May 23rd, and I still have not received them. I have appealed again, and they were ordered by the state to comply with the public records law. And I received communication last Tuesday evening that they would be providing me with footage, but I still have not received it. After I visited the law department, they did provide me a police report, but the public records department has not provided the body-worn camera footage, so I'm not able to provide as much, the things that are being said tonight by them are contradict their story that night. It's contradicted by by the security camera footage that I provided to the police. And they were assisted by the Worcester Police Department in completing the repossession in a separate attempt 3 hours later, despite their breach of the peace and trespassery repossession attempt.
Mr. Webb, do you have that security camera footage to show today?
I don't think I can screen share from, you know what, sure, I can send you a link.
I can't open links, but you can screen share.
I know, on a, 1 second. I'm in the courthouse right now. I mean, I could bring it to you.
Okay. Yeah. Are you able to screen share? Because everybody needs to be able to see it, not just me.
Sure. So I could, but I guess where I'm kind of going with this is they did not have the right to be on my property. It is a private driveway, which according to Massachusetts laws, if it was on the street, this would be different. But it was on a private driveway, which they were immediately informed of. They did not identify themselves. They threatened me and breached the peace. And also, Jared, when he showed up, was in a tactical vest. Like, there was no identification of any kind. He was threatening and aggressive. And before I kicked him, and I appreciate that he described it as being felt like he pushed with my feet, because the police report, of course, describes me as the primary aggressor, but I am not. So when he climbed into the vehicle on top of me, he was choking me. He had his arm wrapped around my neck. That was when my partner was trying to get him to stop, in the situation that the other person on the call talked about separating them from. And so he was on top of me in the vehicle. Dimitri, that was he was on top of me in the vehicle while Lewis was punching my legs. He also went, so when he first came over to the passenger side, the first thing he did, so one, if you look at that video, you can just watch the moment where he yanks open the door. And when he yanks open that door, he grabs both of my shoulders and tries to pull me out of the view. And I lean back and end up grabbing the steering wheel. And he continues, so I was assaulted in like 3 or 4 different ways through this. There was a lot of different hate crimes. Hate speech, like this was, I guess what I'm trying to say is they were not in any way, shape, or form acting lawfully. If I had given DCU permission to come onto my property, that would be different, but they didn't identify themselves. They threatened me, they assaulted me, they breached the peace, they trespassed, they didn't identify themselves, and this is all around I'm not going to, sorry, I just want to go back to my note thing. They threatened to shoot me. They used homophobic and transphobic language. After he came over to the passenger door, attempted to pull me out of my vehicle, climbed in on top of me. He had his arm wrapped around my neck, while one of the other drivers was punching my legs, and the other attempted to hold my partner back. And so, Yeah, he assaulted me, and I'm upset that the other two people also aren't being charged with assault.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Webb. I know that,
Your Honor.
and
Sorry.
excuse me, I'm gonna hear from everybody, but everybody needs to be given their opportunity. The individual logged on is Dana. Is that witness here for you, Mr. Webb?
Yes, Dana, and Luca. Dana
right.
is, yes.
Is there anything that they would like to add?
Who would you like to go first? I can go first, or Luca can go first.
Sure, Dana, if you'd like to go first, if you could turn on your camera, it just helps.
Sure. Hi.
All right.
So I had been in my bedroom and I heard some commotion outside, which is pretty typical of this area. So at first I didn't quite jump to look out my window until I could clearly hear Luca and David. And they were shouting, things like, "Who are you? What are you doing here? This is my property. Please get off my property." And I had no clothes on, so I was like scrambling to put something on to go outside. And I got on the phone with 911 because I wasn't sure if anybody had called yet. And by the time I was out on my front steps, it looked to me like Luca was trying to keep someone from reaching in the driver's side window. And there was someone on top of David, and I could barely even see David, but I could see his Crocs. And he was getting assaulted with like a man on top of him. I wouldn't know what the names of these people are.
Okay. And Dana, what is your last name? I'm sorry.
Linnan, Linnan.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Linnan. Is there anything else that you would like to state? Lucas Webb, did you want to say something?
Hi, Luca.
Luca, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Yes, my experiences are similar to what David and Dana are saying. I was the first person who kind of spoke with them. I heard people speaking outside of our window, and I stuck my head out the window, and I said, "Hey, this is private property." And one of them, excuse my language, but said, "Fuck you, no it's not." So we immediately downstairs, and when we opened the door, Louis and Dimitri were near the driver's side. Jared had jumped out of the flatbed, took his jacket off so we could see his tactical vest, and ran over to us immediately screaming. Jared threatened to shoot us. Louis immediately started calling me a faggot. He punched me in the chest. Dimitri very clearly seemed to be the one managing the situation, was trying to de-escalate the situation. But Louis and Jared were the main aggressors. At this point, they still had not identified themselves by name or company. Louis continued calling me a faggot and a tranny. Jared and David were in the car at this point. Jared was on top of him. David was saying that he couldn't breathe. I saw Jared's arms wrapped around David's neck, and I attempted to pull him off of him, attempted to pull his arms. That did not work. I tried pushing him off of David. That did not work. He is bigger than David. He also called me a faggot and a tranny. I did punch him in his head to attempt to get him to stop choking him. Louis was punching David in the leg. They continued using homophobic and transphobic language. This was not anywhere near a safe professional repossession in any account. They were the main aggressors. They know what they did. They admitted to it on social media the very next day.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. It sounds like this was a pretty heated situation. It also sounds like that there may be additional evidence that is available both on the security camera footage from Mr. Webb as well as the body cam footage. And that certainly can be presented as evidence at a future date. But based upon what I have heard today from both parties as well as the witnesses, for what I have to look at in terms of the low standard of probable cause, I am finding that there is probable cause for the charges against Mr. Charest of assault and battery on Mr. Webb, and I am finding probable cause for the charges of assault and battery. And assault and battery is the dangerous weapon being his foot on Mr. Charest. And again, I want to reiterate that this will move into the criminal courts, and at that time, the remaining evidence that the parties have suggested that they have can be presented in your defense. And I would encourage you to provide that information to the Commonwealth, as well as to any attorney that you may hire or who is appointed to you. But for the purposes of probable cause, I am finding probable cause for these charges to issue. Mr. Webb, are you still at the address for which you received notice of today's hearing?
They actually did not send, the Worcester Police Department failed to use the correct address for me in that notice as well.